Alright, so as you guys expect, quiz tomorrow's surface area, but tomorrow we'll have prisms and cylinders like we have on the front, and then pyramids and cones like we have on the back. So it's all of that. So the instructions are being the same for the whole week. Find a surface area of each figure, round your answers to the nearest tenth. So we're going to the nearest tenth this time. And leave your answers in terms of pi for answers that do contain pi. So let me take the instructions out. So looking at this one, remember I said prisms and cylinders. We're going to do a big rectangle and two bases. The hard thing is like, well, usually when there's a side that is not a rectangle, you know that is your base. When they're all rectangles, like our case for number one, then you pick any rectangle you want. It does not matter. What I'm going to pick, since it doesn't matter, I'm going to pick the little 2x5 rectangle. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one you guys pick. So as you guys see, my base are going to be two rectangles. So the big rectangle, I'm going to have 14 times 7. The 14, because it's the perimeter of the base, right? My little rectangle, I added the sides. So 5 plus 2, 5 plus 2, that's how I got 14. The 7 is a number that has nothing to do with my rectangle. Right. So far, so good? Yeah. So 14 times 7 is 98. So the big rectangle is 98. Remember, is the perimeter of the base times the height of the cylinder, of the prism. Now, for my rectangle, it's a 2x5 rectangle. And I know for the area of rectangles, I just multiply those two numbers, 2 times 5. So I'm going to get 10 for each rectangle. Now just add everything, and then you should get 118. Remember I came in at the beginning, I said, pick a rectangle to be the base. If you guys were not to pick that 2x5 rectangle, you guys were to pick, like, I don't know, the 5x7 rectangle, your numbers here, you guys see my numbers here, they will vary, like they will be different, but once you add them, it should be 118.
If you pick 7 by 7, what would you
The
multiply?
7 by 5?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's take a look. Like you said, what if you picked a 7 by 5? All right, so you're looking as the base is the 7 by 5, right? The perimeter, at all the sides, 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 5, your perimeter is 24.
So you just multiply by 2.
And then you multiply it by 2.
But that doesn't equal 19.
So it's 48. I know my numbers here will vary. Once I add them, it will be 118.
Oh,
Then I'm going to match.
because you're not even, no, I do like how all it's organization, but I don't need the numbers.
Do you get where I got the 24 times 2?
I know you got the 24 without 2.
The 2 is a number has nothing to do with your base. See that 2 right there?
Yeah.
So, like on the other one, it was the 7 had nothing to do with it. But see how in this one, my perimeter is 24. The 2, the number has nothing to do with my base. So the center is 24 times 2, which is 48. Now my rectangle, it's a 7 by 5, the base, 7 by 5. So I know 7 times 5 is 35. So each base is 35. Add them up, and it is 118. So what I was saying earlier is, if you guys pick one base, remember originally my base was a 2 by 5 rectangle, you guys have these numbers. If you guys pick a different base, your numbers in the center will vary, but they do add up to the same thing. Like, think, like, Remember I told you at the beginning of the school year, for those of you that were here the first semester,
You know how it's like 7 by 5 and then 7 by 5 and then 5 2. She's asking which 7 by 5 on what triangle, on what square rectangle you use.
well, I'm only looking for the big base. I'm looking for the 90-degree angle. I know there's 4 90-degree angles, so pick one of them. If I pick this one, I'm looking at 7 times 5. If you pick another 90-degree angle, you're also looking at a 7 and a 5.
What about this one?
Because that's not from the base.
Oh.
And then like going back to what I was saying right now is that I told you guys there's 3 languages spoken in a classroom. I mentioned the book language, which sometimes is kind of fancy. My notes are book language. Then teacher language, and then student language. Like sometimes you guys might say things that some others might not understand, but student language is like you add the thing with the thing and the other thing and then plus the other thing, and then to you guys it makes perfect sense. For some others it might not, but so like that would happen. I'm good with it because it's student language. Leslie, you get it? I mean, Lacey.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Well, you were Leslie for me. Okay. So now, looking at question number 2. Remember, prisms and cylinders. I told you guys the same idea. I'm gonna use a rectangle in the center, right? Prisms or cylinders. I do a big rectangle in the center, and 2 bases. The bases in this case are circles. For cylinders, I will need radius and I will need diameter. I will need both. That's 7, it's the radius, because it's only halfway through. My diameter is obviously twice as big, so 14. Now for the rectangle, I need the diameter, right? The distance around the circle, I need the diameter. I know the diameter is 14, so I'm gonna go 14 pi times 8. Remember, 8 is the height of the cylinder. And 14 times 8 is what? 112? So I have 112 pi. Now, for the circles, I'm going to need the radius. Since the radius is 7, the circles are going to be 49 pi. Because 7 times 7. Right? Radius squared. Then just add everything. And then you should have 210 pi. So remember, it's a big rectangle with 2 bases. Your base is buried. Let me take a look at number 3. The base is a pentagon. So I'm going to say, I'm going to have a big rectangle and 2 pentagons. The drawing of the picture, it will help you guys a lot. Like, it seriously will help you guys a lot. My perimeter, right, I'm going to add all the sides of the base. What's the perimeter of the pentagon? 45. So we're going to go 45 times 9, and the 9 is this 9. So 45 times 9, which is what, 405? Now for the pentagon, I have to go 1/2 times perimeter times apostrophe. So I'm going to go 1/2 times 45 times 6.2. Now that one I cannot do in my head. What do you guys get? What is it? 139.5. When you add everything, you should get 684. Remember, it's a rectangle and 2 bases. I made a mistake when I was doing you guys' worksheet, and I left trapezoids as the bases. I left 2 of them. I see number 5 and number 10. I didn't want to give you guys that many shapes and confuse you guys that much. So do me a favor, number 5 and number 10, skip those. Like I said, I'm not going to do trapezoids because I haven't covered the area of a trapezoid with you. So number 5, number 10, like I said, I made a mistake. Let's just check if you guys are going to be awake.
Can you do number 9?
So let's take a look at number 9. I know it's a big rectangle and 2 triangles. Right, the base are triangles. For the rectangle, I have to go the perimeter of the triangle. There's 3 sides to a triangle. Add them up. What's the perimeter? What is it? Starts with a 2. 24. Remember we went 6 plus 8 plus 10. Right, I know one side is 8, the other side is 10, and the third one is 6. So the perimeter is 24, and I'm going to multiply this by 3. Right, that 3. The number has nothing to do with the triangle, so 72. Now for the area of a triangle, I'm going to go 1/2 times the 2 numbers across the 90 degrees. So look for your 90 degrees in your triangle. So I'm looking at 8 as one of them and 6 as the other. Right, the 2 numbers across the 90 degrees are 8 and 6. So for the triangle, I'm going to go 1/2 times 8 times 6. So each of those is 24. Right, 1/2 times the 2 that cross the 90 degrees. Now add everything. $110, $120, right? So 120. That's it. So prisms and cylinders, a big rectangle and 2 bases. So any questions on the front? Number 8. All right, let's take a look at number 8. The base is a rectangle. So I now have to do a big rectangle and 2 bases. To help me out, for me to see the base, I'm going to highlight it. So what's the perimeter of the base? 28, good. Right, you just added all the sides. Times what? Times 6, good. The number has nothing to do with the base. That's what, 168? Now for my base, it's a 7 by 7 square. What's the area of that square? 49. Right, because we just went 7 times 7. Now add everything, should be what, 266? Okay, so I guess the front, you guys get it. Now let me take a look at the back. Pyramid. Make it flat. The base, as you guys can see, the base is a rectangle. So there's my rectangle. What's the area of that rectangle? 48. Good. We just went 8 times 6, so 48. Now, let me worry about the triangles. I know there's one triangle per side. For 2 of my triangles, the 2 numbers across the 90 degrees are 8 and 11.4. So for that one, I'm going to go 1/2 times 8 times 11.4. Which happens to be what, 45.6? So 2 of my triangles are 45.6. Remember, it's 1/2 times the 2 numbers across the 90 degrees for 2 of them. Now for the other 2, the 2 numbers across the 90 degrees are 6 and 11.7. So I'm going to go 1/2 times 6 times 11.7, which is what, 35.1? Now just add everything, and you guys should get 209.4. For pyramids, the hard questions will be the ones where our base is a triangle. Those are the hard ones to see. So let me do one of those. Number 12. When the base is a triangle, I know my base is a triangle. For us to know which one is the base, because they're all triangles, for us to know which one is the base, is the one triangle where I gave you the measurement for the three sides. So in this case, it will be, I know this side is 6, this side is 6, and this side is 6. That's my base. Right? The base is the one triangle where I give you the measurement of all three sides. So, but now, for the area of the triangle, like I gave you guys the 6's, so you will know which one is the base. But now, for me to know the area of that triangle, the two numbers across the 90 degrees are 6 and 5.2. So I have to go 1/2 times 6 times 5.2. Remember, in my base, I'm looking at two numbers across the 90 degrees, which are 6 right there and 5.2 right there. You see how I know that is 5.2? So I have to go 1/2 times 6 times 5.2, which is what, 15.6? Now, let me worry about the sides. For the sides, the two numbers across the 90 degrees are 6 right here and 10.1. So I have to go 1/2 times 6 times 10.1, which happens to be 30.3. So earlier I heard 18 for the base. The sides, the perimeter is 18, but we're not using perimeter. I gave you guys the sides, so you will know which one is the base. Now add everything, and you should have 106.5. Number 13, those are the easy questions. So let's take a look at cones. I know when I break this up, if I was to make it flat, it looks something like this. My radius is 7. I'm giving you guys a diameter, so that means the radius is 7. For cones, I don't need diameter, so I'm just going to stick it with 7. For the circle, since the radius is 7, I know the circle is 49 pi, right? Radius squared. Now for the other side, the one thing that looks like a slice of a pizza, I'm going to go radius times 15.7. That one I need a calculator. So 7 times 15.7, 109.9. So this is 109.9 pi. That would be for cylinders, but not for cones. So for that slice, I'm just going to go 109.9 pi. Now add everything, and you should finish with 158.9 pi. That makes sense? All right, any questions? 14? If you guys have a doubt on how to do it, please ask, because we have a quiz tomorrow. I'm not answering questions tomorrow, so make sure you guys do ask. The base is a pentagon, which we can see there. So let me draw my pentagon. For the pentagon, I know I have to go 1/2 times 30 That's the perimeter. 1/2 times the perimeter times 4.1. Right, 1/2 times perimeter times apothem. So I get 61.5 for the base, the pentagon. Now for my triangles, there's 5 of them. What is it? So 30 is the perimeter. Each side is 6, there's 5 of those. So the perimeter is 30. Now for my triangle, the two numbers across the 90 degrees are, I know this little side right here is 6. So the two numbers across the 90 degrees are 6 and 11.7. So that one I know I have to go 1/2 times 6 times 11.7. And I get 35.1 for each triangle.
Yeah, and this gentleman doing sentences?
Yes.
Was he late?
Yes.
He was with me. Who was right?
Oh, he was with you?
Yeah, he was with me.
Okay. Next time, if you hold him another day, do me a favor, bring him in so I know he was with you. Otherwise, he has to copy those. So come on in. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
All right. Thank you. So 35.1 for each. And then you should get 237 once you add everything. We're good? Or as good as we will ever be? Tomorrow, I know tomorrow is a big quiz. It has a lot. Surface area and pyramids. Ray, just do me a favor, grab a work right there from there. Yeah. All right. Any questions? Let me take over really quick.